Hi, beautiful souls. It's Sadhana. Happy December 1st. And I am here today to share with you the second printing of Jamie Sawyer's Path Tarot Journey. This is the box. And if you haven't seen this deck already, it's a very colorful, brilliant deck. I'm just going to show you one of the cards. I did already try to shoot this video and the lighting was very, very poor. And so I wanted to redo the video. There is a luminescent quality to these cards. So when you are looking at the cards, it's almost as if, the background, the foreground pops up out of the cards. And so if you're not reading in a dimly lit room, they're really, really quite special. So I'm looking forward to sharing the cards with you as I have opened the cello pack. So I'm not cracking that for you. I have not really played with the cards, so this is very preliminary impressions of the deck. And I'll just read to you from the tuck box. So this is a really actually nice paper. It's a matte tuck box. Looks like it will stand up for a little while anyway. And I'll have to make a special bag for this deck. From the back of the box, it says an homage, do you say the H? You don't say the H? To classic tarot symbolism with modern twists from a creative mind. Sawyer's Path is a colorful exploration of the Fool's journey through the Arcana. It is playful, vibrant, and full of crystals. Tap into your intuition and enjoy the stroll. So the deck is created by artist Jamie Sawyer. Her website is sacredspacetattoo.com, and she's also a tattoo artist, and looks like she has some amazing tattoos on her webpage. I purchased the deck through her Etsy shop, and there is a PDF guidebook that comes with your purchase. As well, you can purchase a hard copy, and instructions are on her website how to purchase a hard copy of the book. I think it's about $10 US. The book is quite thin, shall I say that. It's a beautiful collaboration with her mother. So there's a little bit of poetry, a short description, a little bit of reversal information. It's in full color. So it's really beautiful to look at. Some of the interpretations are not traditional, so it's definitely worth a read. And I will likely purchase the hard copy. I just find it easier than flipping through the PDF. I will open the PDF and have it on my laptop, and I'll share with you a couple of the pages from the book as we go along. So as I said, these are brilliant, brilliant colors. One of the great features of this deck, the flowers, the crystals, it's kind of luminescent, for lack of another word. Okay, so here we go, the Fool. And I'm going to go through the whole deck quite quickly, just make a few comments as impressions. On my screen, this is not showing the brilliance of the colors, so I maybe didn't have to reshoot this video, but we'll go through all the cards anyway. And you'll see most of the images are quite traditional, sticking to the Rider-Waite-Smith system. But there are a few shifts and changes. Lovely High Priestess with this kind of fountain in lieu of the veil. We've got the fountain in the background. And I really do love that arm. It looks like it's about to reach up into a beautiful dancer pose. So from the guidebook, I'm going to read you the description for the High Priestess. High Priestess be your title, yet you are as knowledgeable in the kitchen as you are in the bedroom. Your scroll doubles as your Bible as well as your favorite recipe book. You give out as much knowledge as you care to without being saucy, yet you keep secret the one small but powerful ingredient of your favorite sauce. When it comes to influencing a paramour, your many years at being discreet hold sway. You don't bother dreaming of holding on to them, for you have all that you want or need. You are in high demand for your intuitive gifts. And the reverse meaning, do you easily give up secrets that others have confided to you in strict confidence? For what gain? Are you doing things against your better judgment? Do you just sit and pray for divine inspiration without taking further steps toward developing your abilities? Perhaps some counseling would help you through the rough waters. So quite poetic descriptions in the guidebook. Empress. And you'll notice in this deck too that there are a variety of ages of characters, quite a bit of gray hair, different body shapes and sizes, which is really nice. I like this Emperor. He's very comfortable in his throne with his ankles crossed. You don't see that too often with an Emperor. The Hierophant. I meant to look up the Alpha. I'm pretty sure. I'm just wondering why she chose this Alpha symbol. We've got the Alpha and the Omega. I'm pretty sure that's not the Greek symbol for Alpha, but that's okay. And then we have the Lovers. They're a young couple with the sun instead of an angel. And this card made me laugh. Maybe it's not funny. I don't know. The lions, if you look at them very closely, their eyes are going in toward the outside of the image, as well as the chariotress. Chariotress. So her eyes are looking left and right instead of straight ahead. So to me, it looks like they're about to drive off and split in opposite directions. So yeah, lots of energy in the paintings for sure. And this is so sweet with the lion cub. Yeah, really beautiful. Strength in all ages, strength at all times of life. And the Hermit. You'll notice in the deck, the rods, all of the wands are really beautiful. Many of them are woven from twigs. And we have, so it was typical order for the cards. So 11 is Justice. And we have 2 birds in the background, so 1, 1. She's looking straight at you. You'll notice in this deck too, there's quite a bit of this dot, I don't know what to call it. Dot, dot, dot. In here, it's around the head of the Hanged Man. Different cards, it shows kind of the focus of the character. And this is typical of a lot of the wands in the deck. You'll see that they are woven from branches and really beautiful. I like this Hanged Man. You can tell this is a chosen posture. He has the fabric woven around his hips, so he's quite comfortable. His hands are in prayer, in namaste, in contemplation. His eyes are open, I believe. Yeah, his eyes are open. Really beautiful death card, you know, sailing into the sunset. Yeah. Sometimes endings, you know, a lot of the time endings can be really beautiful, and this is definitely a positive take on the end. Really, sometimes celebrating endings can be a brilliant way to look at things. So this character, perhaps, I mean, he doesn't have the wings on his helmet or anything, but he reminds me of Hermes, Mercury, which makes sense for alchemy. Mercury being one of the alchemical elements. And we have the fire symbol on the front of the cauldron. We have the water in the cauldron. Not a typical I can't even think of temperance. Not a typical temperance image by any means. I really like this devil card. So we have the inverted pentacle here, kind of piercing the third eye of the devil, the male and the female symbol connected with the chain. And then we have the torch just behind the devil, the fire. And you'll notice, this is kind of interesting, that that flame appears in the 16. So there we see it. And the crown is falling off the tower. The tower, standing on an island in a place of isolation. Really brilliant metaphors on a lot of these cards. I'm really enjoying each time I look at them. I just see something different, as we do with all different tarot decks. The star, the moon, and the moon card. I'm having a hard time identifying the animals. So this one looks like it could be a cow, possibly. It has these long ears. It doesn't look like a dog to me by any means. This one definitely could be a dog. And I'm not sure about the face in the moon. It looks kind of, I don't know, odd to me. And we have a very cool hairdo on the child, on the unicorn. If you are, if you have the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, you'll like this card. Also, he has a cutie mark on his right flank, much like the unicorns and ponies in My Little Pony. And if you look into the sun, it almost looks as if the phases of the moon are held within the sun. It's kind of cool. And you know, a different kind of angel too for judgment. First aid cross is the first thing that pops out to me here. And is she pregnant? Or if she is, her baby's kind of lopsided in the belly, but yeah, kind of interesting. And you'll notice a lot of the balance in the cards is depicted by the blue and the red wand. Sorry, the blue and the red crystal. And you'll see each of the elements are represented around the world card. So that's the major arcana. These cards are really quite slippery. So shuffling them, you need to really hold on. They're a lovely size. Pentacles, wands. Okay, let's do wands next. The aces are beautiful. And here, sorry, backwards. Most of the aces have a tattoo on the inner wrist. And you'll notice her use of tattoo art throughout. As I mentioned, she is a tattoo artist. And here's this brilliantly crafted wand with the quartz crystal on the end. And then looking into this kind of microcosm of the world. This tree symbol appears quite a bit, this simplified tree symbol, as of course, in the suit of pentacles, but many places in her tarot as well too. Oh, the other thing too is the hands in the aces are a feminine hand, a manicured hand, which is kind of different. And this too I really like. So if you are looking from the perspective behind, right side you've got red, left side you've got blue, so masculine, feminine balance. So coming into this point in your life where you're ready to step forward and make a decision, sometimes we have to, you know, this decision has to bring our life into balance. And whether we go right or left may be affected by how how we are currently sitting. And then we have, you know, the flame around the bottom encircling both wands. I just think it's brilliant, brilliant energy, and I've never thought about that actual decision process as the importance of the decision in bringing life into balance. Here's an example of these little dots again. So I'm assuming that is the focus of where this person is looking. looking to where his future lies. And the source of the energy is behind him, encouraging him forward. The 4. Looks like lots of fireworks over the castle. And the 5. So this 5 looks quite non-confrontational to me. So it almost looks as if the 5 wands are being held up, almost as in, you know, in brotherhood. It doesn't look to me like a confrontation. So yeah, let me know what you think of this card. Also, the flame being white, the sky being blue. There's not a lot of red on this card. I think it could be read in a different way. And then we have the success card, the 6. Not sure how those 6 wands are being carried, being held straight up. This card has me thinking, so that a facial expression is pretty atypical of a 7 of wands, right? Happy expression. Doesn't really look like a place of defense. The wands in the foreground are quite close. And here the wands are traveling toward the earth. I know I have seen this in other cards before where the wands are traveling in a downward direction, right? Which is a slightly different implication than if the wands are traveling away in an upward direction. And much like the 7, this is, you know, a slightly happier take on this card, or the typical variation of this card. Her clothes are not tattered. She doesn't look worn at all, just standing there in pride and in accomplishment. I actually drew this card this morning in the Victorian Fairy Tarot, which is one of my favorite tarots, and I do not own a hard copy of the deck, which I would absolutely love, just the app on my phone. And it too has a sense of accomplishment in this card. So as you're aware, many ways to interpret each of the cards in the tarot. And then the 10. Okay, so this does reflect the burden of carrying the 10 wands. He does look exhausted. And that would be very heavy with those 10 large crystals there. And then we have our first quartz. So the quartz are really well done. They face different directions, so they will help with the telling of story during your readings. The salamanders are quite active on these robes. The knight here, the salamanders almost look as if they're alive, as do the headpieces. The headpieces are very much alive. Beautiful Queen of Wands. And then the King. So they're not looking straight ahead, so there will be an opportunity to use direction if you're laying out many cards, laying out a spread with many cards. I really like how alive the eagle is on his headpiece. All right, so let's move to Pentacles. And you can see that tree I was talking about on her tattoo on her wrist. So that's that same tree that appears throughout the deck. So you can see the mountains in the background through the garden. Balance. So the pentacles here balanced on what appears to be a sand castle, ready to be taken down by those waves behind. Really interesting how different artists interpret that card. This too is interesting because this appears to be a completed work, and often in the tarot this is a work in progress. Under discussion with many people. And I appreciate the variations in this card as well too. So sometimes we need to sit in contemplation of all that we have, in gratitude, be grateful for our abundance, and sometimes it's necessary to count our pennies before we move forward and make other decisions. And it doesn't always have to be a card of greed, you know, being a miser. This is really a beautiful interpretation of this card too. So to me, I see that somebody from the church has come outside into the village to care for this person who is in need of care. I love the winter scene, the snowflakes. Yeah, this card warms my heart a lot. This one I'm not so sure about. So I'm not sure what the red is indicative of, and what is being shared here. Some kind of a nut, possibly, representative of a coin. And he looks quite solemn, don't you think? Even though we can't see his mouth through his facial hair. The card of patience. He may be growing crystals. They could be grapes, or there could be crystal grapes growing in his, but that's not how grapes grow, but anyway. And this one too. So I usually look to the 3 and the 8 of Pentacles to see a little bit of progression. She doesn't look very happy. And so at this point in the cycle of the Pentacles, this is often a card of, you know, she looks really kind of bored with her work. And this isn't what I would expect to see here. This is a card of reinvention. It's a card of perfecting something that we already are fully skilled for. You know, later on in the cycle, really doing what you want and doing what you believe in. An abundant 9. 10. No children, but a puppy. And then the second set of quartz. So the page here gazing at the Pentacles. So this one has the book. I'm pretty sure the Ace of Pentacles doesn't have a book. So which page do you see more as for, like, you know, education, back to school? Be interested to hear that. And he has a blue pentacle this night. I also appreciate that this knight is a little bit older. We have this gorgeous tress of hair on the queen, and she is facing to the side, king straight ahead. So like I said, this quality of facings in the tarot is important to me. I really do appreciate that. When I lay out a spread, a 9 card or more cards, and the cards, you know, actually look at each other, I find that really helpful in interpreting the cards and helping to answer the question. Okay, you see the tattoo here on the Ace is a lotus. Lots of lotuses in this suit, and what appear to be some mer people. Not quite sure about this card. So the caduceus on one cup, it's not exactly a griffin because it's got a lion face, a winged lion on the other cup. I would expect, you know, a male and a female symbol. So I need to spend some more time thinking about why these symbols were chosen for this cup. Actually, let's go to the guidebook. Maybe the guidebook will answer that question. Okay. Dueling emotions. Everything under the sun, moon, and stars are swirling around all at one and the same time. Where there are two, there is the potential for a harmonious relationship and all that love entails. Friendship, affection, union, engagement, marriage of two souls. Go with the flow and allow that which you've always wanted and desired in a partner to wash over you. Reversed. Are you holding back because of past perceived failed relationships? Will you open your heart anew to learn from the past? Wisdom is healing. Okay, so no mention of the symbols. 3 of Cups, and we have the triple goddess symbol here. 3 different plants on the cups. And again, the brilliance of the cards, they're a little bit better there, is not showing on the screen. So no, please know these cards are a lot brighter and more vivid than you see here. So either, you know, sometimes I feel the character here is not quite ready to receive that 4th cup. There is, you know, similar to the 4 of Swords, sometimes there's a time needed just to pause and to regroup. But something is being offered, and for some reason, not being accepted. 5. So everything on all the half full cups are behind, as well as a home, perhaps a castle. Lots of moons, and the water is just beautiful in these. And an interesting balance between the fiery colors on the top, the water on the bottom. Perhaps these were sweethearts at a younger stage in life. The 6 and the 7 really are worthy of some time when they come up in a reading. I think the tendency, at least for me, is to jump to the negative aspect of these cards, living in the past, not being present, rather than maybe this is a time to cherish memories and to really to grow and to regroup or feel safe, feel loved from that really special time. And same with the 7, right? Sometimes we do need to dream. We need to dream in order to manifest. We need to make plans, make vision boards, you know, really reach for the stars. But finding the balance between, you know, being on the earth, being practical and active. The direction in this card to me is not clear, which way this fellow is headed. The sun with the little baby, the baby sun is, doesn't look like the direction he'll be walking. He may be leaving the sunshine behind and turning around and walking away from this abundance of water, this abundance of emotion. An abundant mermaid. Okay. And you'll see in the swords that's coming, this is coming up, this is an image that is, you know, seen through a window. So we're kind of capturing a picture through the water here. Just had a random thought. The page's hat has paintbrushes, so the aspect of creativity, which I don't usually associate with cups. Creativity I usually associate with the fire, but we have, of course, intuition, the traditional cup with the fish, and as usual, the page is not really paying attention to the fish. The page is off in her own world, or his own world. Knight of Cups. So much being offered here. And he is in movement because he's holding the cup, right? Close to his body. It's not being offered yet. I like the, looks like the tentacles on his shoulder. The Mirror Queen and the Mirror King. So quite a cartoony deck. Not the kind of art that everybody appreciates, but it's kind of fun. I like the winter scene, but I'm not sure that I would use this as a winter deck. And so, I mentioned the swords. So most of the swords in this suit are shown through a diamond-shaped window. So focusing on perhaps the perception of the message, communication, thought. And I'm going to talk more to swords in my next video. I have a lot to say about the Suit of Swords. This is a really interesting Two of Swords. So if this heart has eyes, it is the eyes that are blindfolded, not the third eye. So the 3D eyes are covered up. Yes, it's really interesting take. So kind of an important, the decision that needs to be made here needs to come from the heart and from the intuition. The intuition also being reflected up here, of course, the night sky. And we have the brilliant light behind the heart as well. I think I have this card upside down. Three of Swords. Four. So these are very Rider-Waite-Smith clone-ish. 5. I don't think anybody's lying on the ground. Nobody lying on the ground bleeding in this one. 6. So in the distance, you know, where they are going, if they're going toward the homes with the smoke coming out of the chimneys. Beautiful starry sky ahead. So, quite an optimistic 6 of Swords. Here's another one of those cards with the interesting facial expression. So it almost looks as though he has asked permission. That he is, I don't know, maybe he is smug. Looking back, not really sneaking away. An 8 of Swords. Oh, I wish you could see the 3D effect of these. Princess, caught up in her nightmares. I think this is, well, there are other, this is one of the few children. So there were, if you notice, there weren't children in the 6 of Cups. Not too many children. And this is super interesting to me because it looks as if somebody has carefully placed a blanket over her before they stabbed her in the back. One of the swords is piercing her ear and then they go right down the back. But look at her hands. It's as if she is ready to push herself up and walk away from the situation that she finds herself in. And no blood. And then the final quartz, we have this smirky looking Page of Swords. Knight. I think this is my favorite knight. I like him a lot. And I love his horse. I love the expression on the eye of the horse. And then I think this is the most cartoony character in the whole deck, the Queen of Swords. And I love the sword that's piercing her third eye. And then here's her king. So yeah, quite a brilliantly colored deck. So very typical tarot size. This is steampunk. Same width. But because I said these cards were slippery, I think the plastic coating has added a bit of, or whatever they're coated in, makes the deck quite a bit thicker. So this is, I've edged my steampunk and brown. So yeah, it's quite a handful to hold on to. So I will attempt to riffle shuffle. It shuffles beautifully because of the lamination on the cards. So many cards. I mean, so thick of a pile. So what would you like to know? It's December 1st. We're starting a new month. Everywhere in the world, it seems the weather is, so we're kind of in a change of seasons right now. North America moving into winter. Many parts already deep in the winter season. So it's December 1st. So let's just do a reading, you know, for the month ahead. I'll pull one or two cards, just kind of giving a theme for what lies ahead in the month ahead. This is quite an optimistic deck, I find. But like I said, I haven't done any readings with it yet, so this is I'm going to use it for sure. I'm not going to put it away. I want to get to know this deck and give it some time. I've also purchased the Sawyer's Lenormand, so I may try to pair it. I'll try to find a oracle deck that works well with it and see if I can do a 3 voices reading. And I'll let you know how that goes too. Okay. All right, December. Oh dear, it's the Tower. I shouldn't say oh dear, because this card sometimes can bring on very positive change. As I mentioned earlier, this Tower had a crown on top, and sometimes we need to kind of, what's the expression? We need a reality check, right? We need a reality check. And so if we are not able to take off the crown ourselves, sometimes external forces come along and pull the rug out from underneath us, or, you know, knock the hat off our head. I also mentioned that this Tower card, this Tower is located on an island, and if we have isolated ourselves for reasons that are not in our highest interest, either because we are, you know, we may have thought it was the best choice to move into a little bit of isolation, but sometimes isolation is not what we need to move forward. So this is definitely a shift away from that. Let's just see what the next card is and see where we're going from there. Okay, so that's kind of a nice pairing. So we have the 3 of Wands. So this shift, this kind of shaking up and being rattled up is something that you are fully 100% able to handle and you are ready for, because there is an opportunity that may have been sitting there for a while that you have not stepped forward to embrace. You have chosen your isolation. You've stepped back into your tower. You've stepped back into your office, your cave, whatever your tower is. And that opportunity that's been sitting there just waiting for you to embrace is the universe wants you to take it. The universe wants you to step forward and to act. The Suit of Wands is about action. It's not about contemplation. It's not about hiding. It's about moving and stepping forward. So if this resonates with you, you know what I'm talking about. And it's time to, take that risk and to move forward and step forward. So I really look forward to your comments below. And let me know how you are getting along with the Sawyer's Tarot, the guidebook, and any other comments you have about Jamie's work. Happy December 1st. Stay well, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.